predefined categories. Okay. So here predefined category indicates that, so one example I can give you. Let's say I want to identify based on the characteristics of the students whether student is from the undergraduate or student is from the postgraduate student. So therefore we have the two categories. One is undergraduate, another is postgraduate. So this category will be fixed and that should be predefined. Okay. Similarly, we'll see some more example. Say suppose if I want to classify the animal into either it is mammals or non-mammals. So then we'll have the two categories, and that is also predefined. It is not necessary that we'll have the always two categories. Maybe we can have multiple categories also. But in classification task, the number of categories should be predefined. So that is the one important part of the classification technique. Okay, and then if you move, if you see once more the task of the classification, that what task classification algorithm does, it assign an object into one of the predefined categories. So that any object, so it will be either it will be say for students it will be, it should belong into the undergraduate or postgraduate category. So next definition is more mathematical, but need not be worried. It is simple. It's a set definition. Given a data set D of objects and set of classes C, that set of classes is predefined. And given a data set of objects we have, and then set of classes we have. That means ideally we have two sets. Okay, as you understand, the cardinality of the set D is much higher than the cardinality of set C. So if the two class problem, as I said few minutes before, categorize the student into undergraduate or postgraduate student. So that is the cardinalities too. And set of objects we have is 1,000 students. Now you need to identify the students it belongs to which class, in a sense ki whether undergraduate or postgraduate. Now given a set of objects and set of classes, classification problem is to define a mapping from the set D and the another class set of classes C. So basically classification is nothing but a mapping function, or it is finding the relationship between the object and its classes, and where each object is assigned to any one of the classes. This is a classical definition of the classification. So sometime what we assign key, so one object can be can be in both of the classes. One example, say dual degree student, we say he is also sometimes we say he is BTech student, or he is also sometimes they also do classes with master students. Okay, so many courses is also common. So therefore, sometimes we say this is a postgraduate also. So therefore, one student can be also in the both the categories. But classical definition, when the classification process started and now also, it is assumed that each object will have a single category or single class. So in summary, we will have a set of objects and we have a set of classes, and that must be predefined. For the set of object, obviously I am not saying predefined in a sense ki set of object we will have, but need not be that we should know the beforehand the set of those objects. So we have a set of objects and set of classes. Then what we have to do, we have to find a relationship between the objects and classes and then come up with a mapping function. That relationship is nothing but, in some cases, say let's say in support vector machine is exactly the, we have a function, we have an equation, and that equation tells everything about the classification task. But some say decision tree will have also a relationship between the object and the classes. So in that case, what we will have, it is not an equation, but that is also a kind of structure that basically speaks about the relationship between the objects and the classes. So in any other way, see, even the neural network also work over equation, set of equations rather. Okay. So therefore, basically, it's fine. Classification model, it's fine. the relationship between the objects and the classes. So now, how the classification task is performed. So main objective is set, but how to reach this objective? So that is something we say is the working principle. So in working principle, a set of objects with their categories are provided. Already I said ki there should be a predefined categories. So let's say example, we have the undergraduate and postgraduate student. And here first part is saying ki a set of objects with their categories are provided. So we should have a, let's say 1,000 or 100 or 500 students, where we know that students, this roll number, these characteristics, these are the subject he or she has taken, and then he studied in undergraduate student. These are the students, and he has taken these courses, and then he started the postgraduate student. He is a postgraduate student. So these information, we should have a category, and then information about the student must be there. That is the first task. And commonly this is something called the training set. Wherever we know about the objects, these objects belongs to which category. These information if we have, so that is we say is the training set. Then what is the next part? As I said in earlier, we should be given a set of objects and then corresponding category. So this is the case, first part. And it captures the relationship between the object and their category. I said in the earlier class that you find a mapping function. So that mapping function is not nothing in more generic sense. It said ki you find the relationship between an objects and their category. Sometimes we say ki we build a model. Model is nothing but basically it fixes the relationship. It fixes the relationship between the object and their category. And so on it is done. Then first definition you see its task of the classification is to assign a class level to an unknown class level to the object. So now what you do using this model, you identify the class level of the unknown object. So word unknown is very important. The object which is not in the training set is called the unknown object. So then what is there in the training set? A set of objects with their category are provided. So in the training set, we should have objects and their categories. But unknown object means we know the objects, but unfortunately we don't know its category. That means we know the student information, student role, ID, everything, and what are the papers he has taken or she has taken, that we know. But that information is missing. That student is studying in undergraduate or graduate classes. So that information is missing. So that is why we say that object is unknown to the classifier. Because whenever classifier builds the model, so that time that object is not there in the training data set. So therefore that object is called the unknown object. Okay. So in summary, we should have a training data set. Say whenever we say is we apply the classification technique, no doubt everywhere there must be a training set. In the training set, we should have objects and then or categories. And then there will be a plenty of classification algorithm. So basically, essentially, each classification algorithm finds the relationship between the objects and its category. Once model is built, then you take some unknown object where that unknown object was not present in the training set, and then you say the class level. So then this will complete the objective and this will complete the classification task. Okay. So moving to the next. So this is a pictorial representation how it works. As I said on the left side, if you scan from the figure from the left side, you see the training set. The training set should have the object and its category. So it is represented in mathematically. If you can follow the mouse here, mouse movement. So xi is nothing but the object, and yi is its classes, and then we have a set of objects and its classes. So that should be the input to a classifier, and essentially classifier will build the model. That means classifier look into the data. Data in a sense is like here the objects and its classes, and then essentially it finds the relationship between the object and its class, and then it makes a model. Once model is built, then what is there? Once model is built, assign a class level to an unknown object. So please note that I am moving the slide from slide number 3 to 4. So if you find any problem, please let me know. So now I am in the slide number 4. So on the right side corner, you can see the slide number. So now what we have, once model is built, now is coming the test set. Test set, what is that? Unknown objects. Test set consists of unknown object. It is unknown to the classifier. So unknown to the classifier means whenever we feed this test set to the model, so we don't know the class level. So therefore there is a question mark, you can see. So what do we know it? We know the same set of features. See, essentially xi and xk will have the similar kind of feature, not exactly the same. Okay. So, and then once we put this information to the model, and then it will give the class level, that is unknown object which did not have the class level. Now we got the class level. So therefore, if you move back the definition number 1, so task of the classification object to assign a class level, to assign, okay, move back here. Task of the classification is to assign an object into one of the predefined categories. So here we are assigning the object into this category, that is YL. Okay. So now basically, so if you essentially see, task of the classifier is to assign an object into one of the pre-categories, so predefined categories. So in that case, actually, so we have nothing to do with the training set. We should be provided, or we need to collect the training set somehow from the different domain if we work with it. So basically it differs, basically which techniques we use and then what type of model is built. So based on that, there are plenty of classification algorithm is developed, and then we'll study some of them or few of them. So one of the classification algorithm is decision tree. Before moving into the decision tree, so we will tell you what are the application. There are plenty application. There are many application domain where the classification algorithm is used. One is predicting tumor cell as cancerous or non-cancerous. Categorize the news article into one of the predefined categories. As I said earlier also, say Google News, they categorize the news into political news, sports news, entertainment news, technological information, and so on. So one can use, this is predefined categories. So this is one example of the classification. As I said, that categorize the animals as the mammals and non-mammals. And very often we see the classifying email into spam and non-spam. Identifying credit card transaction as legitimate or fraudulent. These are the example of the classification technique. Now there are very popular classification methods. One is decision tree based approach, another is the neighborhood based approach, neural network, Bayes theorem, and naive Bayes theorem, support vector machine, and then finally ensemble classifier. So in this class, we'll try to cover all except the neural network. So neural network will be taught rigorously in next machine learning class. So that time we'll be learning. Maybe if time permits, also we will give a very brief introduction of the neural network if it is not covered in some other class. One example is, now we'll talk about the tree-based. We'll talk about the decision tree-based approach. So decision tree. First we'll give how it works, and then finally we see the algorithm of the decision tree. Now first we'll see is what does decision tree do, and then finally we'll see how it works. So as I said, this is a classification technique. So classification technique, that working principle, if you remember correctly, it has three steps. First one, it should have the training data set. And that table here is nothing but the training data set. And what is there in the training data set? We should have the objects and then its class level. If you minutely see the table, see we have the transaction or TID. There are 10 and each row represent an object. Okay, or description of a man or description of a person who has taken loan. So and then and there is a description of the all other 9 guys. And then finally we have the description of whether that guy refunded the loan or so that whether we can classify that this guy is cheat or not. So therefore, this training data set we have that objects and its predefined categories. On the right side, we have a decision tree. Somehow we build the decision tree, but somehow we'll explain little later. Once we get the decision tree, and decision tree is nothing but the relationship between the class and the objects, and then we got a structure, and that structure is for understanding we say this is a decision tree. And now one decision tree is built. Now what is the task? Task is the assign class level to an unknown object. So now let's say this is the unknown object. An unknown object will have the all attributes here present. That is refund, marital status, and income must be there, but we don't know the class level. So therefore, let's say that class level that object is this is the class unknown object. We have the refund no, status single, income 81K, but unfortunately we don't know the class level. Then what is the task? We have to identify the class level using this decision tree. So now we have the decision tree, we have the unknown object, and how do you identify the class level? So now what we do it, we'll trace the tree. So refund will go at the node, and then what is the value of the refund node? So then we move on the right side, right branch, and then we'll see what is the status. Status is single, but marital status is divided either in single, divorce, combined, or married. So it should go on the left side, that is single, divorce, and then we'll see the income. Income is 81K. So income again is divided into 2, whether it is less than 80K or greater than 80K. And this guy has the income 81K, so it should go on the right side. And then in the leaf node it is written yes. So these indicate that class level. So whether this guy is cheat, yes. So this guy is the cheat. So therefore this way that decision tree find the class level of an unknown object. Now I'll tell you, if you carefully observe the decision tree, what is there? It has some leaf node, it has internal node, and then it has some branches. That is we know for the tree. Okay. Now there are some good thing about the decision tree. Very popular classification method. It was introduced in 1984. Model is interpretable. Simple algorithm for model building. Prediction accuracy is adequate for many applications. That means it is saying is it may not be the best for many applications, but maybe many applications also. Prediction process is really straightforward, as I think everyone you understood how the decision tree predicting the class level. Simply you move from the root node to the any one of the leaf node where it eventually lead, and that will be the class level. And it can handle nominal, ordinal, and continuous attributes. So one very good thing for the decision tree, there may be some application, so some classification techniques like distance-based classification. Many times it fails to handle the nominal and ordinal attributes. But there is no problem with the decision tree for if the attribute is nominal, it does not matter really. So either the attribute is nominal, ordinal, or continuous. These are the good thing for the decision tree. And now we'll go to the real problem of the decision tree. So now we'll first give the definition of the decision tree. Decision tree is a classifier. This is no doubt. Decision tree corresponding to given training set has the following property. As I said, once training data set is given, so you need to find the model, and that model is nothing but the decision tree. That means each decision tree is each decision tree is involved with a training data set. So therefore, a decision tree corresponding to a given training set has the following property. As few minutes before, we have seen that decision tree, and then decision tree has the internal node and then leaf node, and then it has the branches. Now you please note it. Each internal node denotes a test on an attribute. So each internal node is nothing but the attribute along with the test condition. Each branch represents an outcome of the test. So once, let's say, income 80K. So income 80K or 80 less than and greater than. So that means one branch is lesser than, other branch can be greater than equal to. So therefore, each branch represents an outcome of the test, and each leaf node hold a class level. So if you move back, please remember these three, what is called three features of the decision tree. One is each internal node denotes a test on the attribute. Second one is each branch represents an outcome of the test, and each leaf node holds a class level. So now you move to the one. So as I said, first one is each internal node. Each internal, this is internal node, is nothing but the attribute test condition. So here, because it is the binary attributes, we did not write test condition. Otherwise, we should write the test condition, and then we only wrote here key only what is the attribute. So this is one attribute, marital status. Marital status either we are putting in two branches. So therefore, one outcome will be single divorce, another outcome will be the married. Similarly, for refund, one is yes, another is no. So this is the test condition. Test on the refund value, on the refund. If it is yes, so it will come left side, on the right side, and so on. So this branch represent the test outcome. And then leaf node, this is nothing but the class level. So it is coming from the class level. Okay, and class level is cheat, yes or no. So therefore, we'll have the class level in the leaf node will be yes or no in this example only. Now, question is how to build decision tree. We know there should be a training data set, and from the training data set, we need to build the decision tree. And once decision tree is built, then we know how to test the unknown object. But question is how to build the decision tree. So here we go. There is something called Hunt's algorithm. It's very simple algorithm. As you can see, only 4 to 5 lines. We need to understand it. Let Tn be a training set associated with a node n. Okay. So let's say with a node n, and if when there is no decision tree, so there is nothing. There is no node, or you can assume that entire training data set. Entire training data set is in a node. So let's say Tn be a training set associated with a node, and then you look into the training set. If the all records in the training set belongs to a single class, then node n is a leaf node and labeled as the class C1. So if you see that all nodes belong to a single class, there is no need for splitting the decision tree further, and that node obviously it will be a leaf node, and that's all. You are done. If that is not the case, if Tn records belongs to more than one classes, then what will happen? An attribute test condition needs to be selected for partitioning the record into smaller subset. What is that? If Tn records belongs to more than one classes. What is Tn? Tn be a training set associated with a node n. Let's say initially we have the training data set. It is not associated with a node A. So we assume entire training data set belongs to a single node, say let's say n. Now what we find is there are records within the training data set, within the nodes that belongs to more than one classes. And then what do we have to do? We have to choose any one of the attributes for splitting the entire training data set into a smaller part. And we'll do this one recursively, apply the procedure to each subset. Again, we will see the subset, and if the all subset belong to a single class, so that will be leaf node. And if it is not, then all records belongs to, or the records belongs to more than one classes. Then again, what we do? Again, we find another test condition, and then split it into a smaller subset. Okay. Let's say this is the training data set. We need to build the decision tree. First condition is we'll see within this, let's say this training set associated with a node N1. That means entire training data set belongs to node N1. Now within a node, what do you see? There are records belongs to more than one classes. On the right side, you can see the classes. So there are records belongs to both the classes from yes and no. So therefore, first criteria is not met. So therefore, we have to move to the Hunt's algorithm in the second part. What it says, it says that if all record does not belong to single class, then you find any one of the attribute test condition and put into a smaller subgroup. But there are many questions. There are 3 attributes in this simple example. Which attribute you should pick for splitting the entire data into the smaller subset? So we have the 10 points here, 10 objects are there, 10 records are there, and then we have to obviously bring into the smaller subgroups. Okay. So issue in the decision tree. How to partition the record and how to find the best split, in a sense, how to find the best attributes condition that we can get the what is called is best subset from the particular node. So what is the split condition? So split condition indicate the splitting attribute with the split point. That means we need to find the test condition. Let's say, so in earlier example, it is really easy to find the test condition for a refund and then what is called is marital status attribute. But what about the income? Income has the continuous attributes. Now it is really difficult. Someone can say it is the 70 lesser than 70 and upper than 70K income, and someone can say something else. So therefore, we need to find the best test condition. So what is the way to find the best condition? It is written here. Objective is to get the each partition as pure as possible. So you apply any test condition. Let's say you go for the two-way split, say with the refund yes and no, and then you got the smaller subset. But what is the criteria? Smaller subset should be as pure as possible. So how do you define the pureness? Pure in a sense here is the homogeneous. All objects will be homogeneous. What does it mean? What do you mean by the homogeneous? That means all objects in a subset or in a node is expected that they will be coming from the same class. So objective is to get each partition as pure as possible. If it is not the all points belongs to same class, but target should be that majority of the point should belong to a single class. So that is, we need to find the homogeneous object in a class. Now there are different conditions. How to specify test condition? It depends on the attribute types. So for the nominal, ordinal, continuous, as we see, and then how many split we should go? Should we go for the binary split or should we go for the multi-way split? So which way we should go? And then how do you do with the different type of attributes? These are the questions we need to address for while going for the building decision tree. So split based on the continuous attributes. So if the attributes are continuous, so what we can do it? We can form a discretization, as I said in the last class, to form an ordinal attributes, or otherwise we can go for the binary partition. So less than 80K or greater than 80K. As I said again, how to find the best split? Nodes with homogeneous class distribution are preferred. That means we are expecting that each node should contain record from a single class. So we are expecting this one, but as I said, it may not be possible that all records belongs to a single class. But that purity should be as much as possible. So therefore, we should have a measure of the node homogeneity or node impurity or node purity. So in essentially, so when we apply a split, then it will find the subset of the original node, and then within the subset we will try to find the homogeneity. How do we find the homogeneity? So let's say all class does not all objects not belong into a do not belong into a class. So therefore we need to find some kind of what is called measurement to find the homogeneity. So that is something we say the node impurity or node purity. So we have few measures to compute the node impurity or node purity. So a metric is used for selecting the best split. Three popular metrics are there for computing the homogeneity or computing the impurity of the node. So impurity is just reverse of purity. So if you get the impurity, obviously we will get the purity of the node. So three popular metrics. One is Gini index, another is entropy, another is the classification error. So Gini index is used. There is a classification technique is called cut. So that we'll see, and then entropy, and then we'll have the we'll see on classification error. Now, before moving into details about the entropy or what is called is Gini index, we'll talk about how we should proceed. Let's say, as you see in the example on the table or top table, say if you see carefully, there are objects. N0 number of objects belongs to class C0. N1 number of objects belongs to class C1. Total number of objects in this node is N0 plus N1 N0 plus N1. Now it has two attributes. One is A, another is B. Now if we use the attribute A, and then if you go for the binary split, then again we'll get the subnode M1 and M2 and the distribution of the node at after partition. So split at the node A, as you can see the table, middle table one. So what we see at the subnode M1. So in this example is something like that. So let's say we have a node here. So we have a node here. So this is the node. So in that node, that how many N0, N1 total number of objects is, say total number of object is N0. What is the text? I could not find the text box. Is it open? Okay, I could not find the text box anyway. So suppose this is the node, here, and then what we do it, we apply this node A, and then we got the split like, so this is the original node, and then we got the split here, we got the another split here, and then we got this one. Now this one is, we are saying M1. So this is we are saying M1 and this is we are saying M2. So within M1 we have also the classes C0, C1 and N10 is the number of node belongs to class C0 and N11 number of node belongs to class C1 and for M2. Now if I do the same thing here, so now if I do same thing with the node B, obviously we will get the similar structure but starting from M0. Okay. So now what we do it, we'll find the gain. What is the gain? If I apply the attribute A, so that is something called M12, and if we apply the attribute B, then something we said the M34, and then wherever the difference is maximum, so that gain will be the maximum. That means if the after partition the value is minimum, so that because M0 is fixed, so therefore to get the maximum differences, so this part should be the minimum, this part should be minimum. So wherever the minimum is, the difference is more, we'll get the more gain, and then we'll choose that attribute A or B. So, and then for computing M12, we use the Gini value. We use the Gini metric. So here we go. So Gini index for a given node is computed as follows. Gini at particular node T is 1 minus summation over PJT square. What is PJT? PJT is the relative frequency of class J at node T. PJT is the relative frequency of class J at node T. That means, what is the relative frequency here? If you go back here, earlier example. So what is the relative frequency at this node? So relative frequency of class C0 is N0 by N1 plus N0. And relative frequency of the class C1 is N1 divided by N0 plus N1. So this is something called relative frequency. Okay. So therefore, therefore Gini index will be 1 minus summation over classes. So there are two classes. So one will be N0 divided by N0 plus N1 square plus N1 divided by N1 plus N0 square. So that will give you the Gini value 1 minus this term. Where PGT is the relative frequency of class J at node T. Hopefully you understood this part. Now, what is the maximum value of the Gini and what is the minimum value of the Gini? What is the minimum value? Minimum value will be when the all records belongs to a single class, so that should be the purest node. And then impurity value will be 0. And impurity Gini index is nothing to compute the impurity. So impurity value will be 0. So that means when all records belong to a single class, so therefore what will be the relative frequency? There is no other classes. So therefore relative frequency will be, so let's say all records, say N0 records belong to single class, so therefore relative frequency will be N0 by N1 1 square 1. So therefore this value will be 0. And for other class it will be 0. So therefore Gini value will be 0. So therefore this is the minimum value of the Gini is 0. So what will be the maximum value of the Gini? Let's say 2-class problem. Maximum value you get whenever in a node all records are equally problem. That means for 2-class problem, that relative frequency of class 0 is half and relative frequency of class 1 is half. So now if you do it half square plus half square, so therefore 2 into 1 by 2 square, so then you will get it the value 1 minus 1 by 2, so that means half, right? So if there are multiple classes and then all records belongs to all record have the equal probability belong to their individual classes. So therefore let's say there are NC number of classes. Okay, so therefore 1 minus summation over all classes. So their number of classes will be NC. So therefore there will be term number of summation term will be NC into what next PJT. PJT is nothing but the all records are equally probable. So number of classes are NC. So then probability will be 1 by NC and then square 1 by NC square. So therefore what will be the value 1 minus 1 by NC. So therefore maximum value will be 1 minus 1 by NC, wherever the minimum value will be 0. So with one example I will end today's class. Here we go. So can you compute the Gini for these three cases? So first case equally what you can see is that all objects belongs to single class, that is class C2. So therefore what will be the Gini value? Gini value will be 0, right?
0.
0. And then last case, what will be the Gini value? So there are two classes and then all are equally probable, that is probability will be half square 2 into half square. Okay, 1 minus 2 into half square, that means 1 minus half. So it will be Gini value will be half. What will be the Gini for the middle case? That is what will be the Gini?
5 by 18.
1 minus 1 by 20, 1 by 25 plus 1
Sir, 1
by 1 by 36, 1 by 36.
Yeah.
And then 5 by 36.
25
Okay.
by 36.
So 1 minus 8 by what is that? 5 by 16, 25, 26. 26 by 36. Okay. So that way you can compute the Gini value. So yeah, this is the last slide for today.
Sir, there's one question.
Yes.
Why are we interested in purity of nodes or its homogeneity?
Acha. So what is the task finally? So let's say to address this one, say we are not interested about the purity or homogeneity. If we are not interested, then essentially what will happen? So we'll get a decision tree. Okay, we'll get a decision tree here, right? And this node will be the mixture of records. Some of the records belongs to class yes, some of the records belongs to class no, right? If we don't focus about the homogeneity, how yes will come, because most of the records belongs to class yes, so therefore we put the record this leaf node as yes. If it is not the case, that means what is not the case? That means most of the record do not belongs to a single class. That means records are distributed across the classes. So let's say out of 100 records here, so while building the decision tree, so 100 records ended here, and these 100 records, some of the classes, some of the records belongs to class C1, some of the records belongs to class C2. Okay, let's say 50% records belongs to class C1 and 50% records belongs to class C2. Okay. Now once model is built, now what we have to do, when unknown object will come, then we don't know the class level, so we know only the attributes. So then if we trace it and then ended up this one. Now what will be the class level of that unknown object? Because majority of the points, there is no majority. 50% belongs to class C1, 50% belongs to class C2. But for the what will happen, what will be the class level of unknown object? We cannot conclude anything, right? Did you get my answer or?
Yes, sir, I got it. That's why one node should have only one class label, right?
Yeah, ideally we should have the leaf node should have a one class level. If it is not, at least majority of the classes majority of the records should have that class. That means if we say we should give a name yes class, that means we are assuming more than 50% of record belongs to this class yes.
Okay, yeah. So in next class, it will be better if you can give us some example of this particular scenario, like
Which
when
which scenario?
like more than 50% of the data set is having one class and like that, so that yeah, one of the leaf nodes having multiple classes, something like that. I got the point, but to visualize that, it will be better.
Okay, I think there is a data mining tool, something called Weka, WEKA. Okay, I don't know whether you have heard that or not. There is a data mining tool Weka, so you can install and then you can do a different kind of experiment upon it. But let me proceed a little bit on decision tree, or maybe I can also show you. Okay, so then it will be clear. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Obviously, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. And then Saturday we'll have a class from 3 o'clock. Tomorrow no class.
Sir, this is new slide, sir.
Huh?
So this slide is not uploaded, sir.
This slide is not uploaded, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, at very beginning of class, I lost my connection. If you have taken attendance, 3
What is your name?
Srilekha, Banu Srilekha,
Okay.
3587.
Sir, my attendance is also missing, sir. Chandrakant, sir.
How do you know that your attendance is missing?
Sir, I was trying to attend, but it was not connecting, sir.
Okay.
So I joined, sir, little late, sir.
Sir, so tomorrow
Sir,
is
me
no
too,
DMW
sir.
class?
BTech, Saurabh Gupta.
Excuse me,
So,
sir, tomorrow is no DMW class.
tomorrow is October 2. You know the importance, right?
Yeah, sir, Gandhi Jayanti.
Yeah. Okay,
Excuse
then.
me.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
You have any question?
Yes, sir. Sir, in all the examples.
Unmute you. You unmute.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
I'm asking that in all the examples you have taken the attributes as binary attributes.
Not all income is not a binary attribute. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was I was asking that it can have many nodes under beneath a single attribute.
Many nodes under single attributes.
Yes, sir. Like income is an attribute.
Income is an attribute. Yes.
After that, we have two nodes describing the classes. We can have many classes. That means we have after attribute income, we can have many nodes also.
Many branch.
Yes, sir.
That is possible. We will show you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. No? Okay, I will upload the video. Okay. For these classes, for all other classes, not. Okay, video
And sir, also,
Sir. Hello,
yes,
sir.
Yes.
Sir, yesterday was my end semester examination, semester 8th examination, so I didn't attend the class, sir.
End sem means what end sem?
Hello.
End sem
So
means
final year, sir. Final year BTech exam, sir. 8th semester exam, sir.
you did not pass BTech, but you are studying MTech or what?
Sir, the exam, the final semester exam was pending, sir, but it held yesterday for our university, sir.
Okay, so hopefully that you will get I expect that you will get the BTech degree first and then MTech. Or
Yes, yes, sir.
it can be your other way around also. Or you will get BTech.
Sir, the
MTech
paper
first
was
and
good,
then
sir.
BTech. Huh?
The result will be declared, sir, before 15th of October, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes,
October
sir.
2020, huh?
Yes, sir. 15th of October, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.